Joining me now from Southern California, retired Lieutenant Commander, U.S. Navy, former Navy SEAL, and author of the book, First Fast Fearless, How to Lead Like a Navy SEAL, Iron Ed Hiner. Iron Ed, in a nutshell, if you could, in a sentence or two, tell me what happened with the Eddie Gallagher case. In terms of the prosecution, is this the residue of the Obama administration lingering over, the swamp, if you will, lingering over in the Trump administration?
Well, I normally don't get into politics, especially on the left side. I don't want to be Epstein here, but it was a fallout from the last administration, and it had a lot to do with, I think, with the sexual assault cases that the president and Senator Gillibrand were pushing to get rid of in the military, which we understand. But it created a culture of over-prosecuting, and this culture grew and grew over the years with impunity, and no one's ever checked them. And bad things happen in the dark. This whole thing started with assumption or presumption of guilt, not innocence.
Right.
Okay? And the prosecutor painted a canvas that was found out in court is all lies, mostly lies, And
did some real dirty tricks as well. And I want to look at the chronology of what happened to Eddie Gallagher. Just real quick, I want to run through this. He fought in the battle for Mosul. He was charged with murder initially, charged with bringing discredit to the armed forces for the picture he took with a dead guy. Right. He was demoted. Trump reversed the demotion. This is obviously just a capsule of what happened here because it happened over a lot of time. The Trident pin was going to be taken away. He retained it now, and the Navy Secretary was fired, caught up in all this. The murder charge, that was discredited in court, in the court-martial, in trial. It turned out to be a Navy corpsman who owned up to that. As far as the discredit to the armed forces, how do you view this picture taken with a dead guy in the heat of the battle? This is a terrorist, by the way, he took a picture of.
Well, war's an awful thing. War hasn't changed, laws have. I'm not, allowing him to do this, but at the same time, let's put it in context. If you put this in context, if you're at a court-martial, for instance, and you found not guilty, but in that court-martial they found you guilty of adultery, let's say, the sentence is way heavier for adultery in the military than it is for taking a picture. This picture would have only been non-judicial punishment had he not been at a court-martial. Okay, so it would have been a slap on the wrist, said, hey, knock that off and stop doing it. So to put that in context so people can understand, and people may think it's grotesque and whatnot, but so is killing people you don't know in a city that you're fighting where people are being beheaded. And war is a mess. There's nothing good about it.
War is hell. Now, Eddie Gallagher has been held accountable. He's still trying to clear his name, and that's kind of what we're talking about here, to try and lay out the facts so maybe people understand what happened here. In effect, he was railroaded. But it's interesting, the Navy Secretary being fired in this process, it seems as though he was trying to subvert the Commander-in-Chief. That would be Donald Trump in this process.
He was. He admitted to that. Obviously, it is. But ironically, a year ago, and you had me on your show, and thank you first of all for Eddie Gallagher. Of course. He's happy that glad that you let us do this. But when I reached out for organizations and to raise money for him. And the Secretary of the Navy's longtime personal friend sent me an email last year saying that the Secretary recommends that none of these organizations get involved. The assumption of guilt is what started this whole avalanche.
Interesting. And now the IG is looking into it, right? So maybe we'll get some answers?
That's right. And I think, a lot of people want this to go away. I know our community does. But at this point, it's time to hunt the prosecution. The NCIS prosecutor. Look, the prosecutor was caught and admitted in court that he injected military spyware, because it's from a military server, to the defense team to track his movement. It's like playing cards or poker and putting a camera behind your opponent's head to read his cards. It is unbelievable what they did.
We deserve answers. The American people, the United States Navy, the military, the Pentagon deserves answers. We, the people, deserve answers, as well as Eddie Gallagher, who is still right now trying to clear his name, and you're trying to help. Iron Ed, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.